Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to this video, and here I want to talk about 3 books that I finished in January. So that would make the total number of books I finished in January to be 4. One of those books that I finished earlier I already talked about in one of my previous recent reads video, and so these are the remaining 3 books that I finished that month. So I have, I would say, 3 different books of 3 different styles. 2 of those styles are of genres that I don't usually read, but I would like to try something new. And one of those books is, of course, something that I usually go for. So let's start with the first one. This is The Temple House Vanishing by Rachel Donohue. I'm not sure if you can see the title clearly. Basically, the leaves are they are kind of like, they have this golden sheen, so they look nice in person. Not sure if they translate well on camera, but anyway, Rachel Donohue is an Irish author, and this is a mystery thriller. And so this book is about a girl who went missing at a boarding school. So this teenage girl, her name is Louisa. This book has 2 timelines. The first timeline takes place in the current time, where we see a journalist is trying to investigate what really happened to Louisa. And basically Louisa's disappearance happened like around 10 years or a decade prior to this journalist investigation. So basically, when Louisa went missing, no one really knew what happened to her. No one knew if she were, she went somewhere and she didn't tell anyone, or if she died, or if no one knew. So this really intrigues the journalist, because this journalist, according to her, she has some kind of personal connection with Louisa in terms of her own personal life. She used to live on the same street as Louisa when she was a child. Although she hasn't really had, she didn't really have any like frequent close encounters with Louisa other than being babysat by her one time when she was a little kid, and Louisa was kind of like an older child at the time. So she really wants to know. So that is what one of the subplot is about. Now the other subplot is narrated by Louisa herself, and that subplot takes place around the time when Louisa just first entered the boarding school, which was like, yeah, around a decade before the journalist stories time. So in this subplot, Louisa talks about her experience going to this boarding school as a scholarship student, and everyone there, they're all really like rich, and they come from different economic background as hers, and so she feels like a fish out of water. But then she also encounters 2 individuals, one teacher and another one is a fellow student who's a bit older, and these 2 individuals would eventually be like her support system of sorts, but they are also the ones who are going to introduce some colors and drama into Louisa's story in this book, which may have something to do with her disappearance that the journalist is trying to investigate 10 years later. So yeah, that's pretty much what this book is about. so yeah, we have two subplots. First of all, I don't think no, not two. Yeah, we have two subplots. Yeah, from two point of views. But I don't think that two point of views are enough for this book. I feel like there is something lacking about in terms of the voice in this book. I'm not really sure if these two voices, like Louisa's story is narrated by Louisa herself, and the journalist's story is narrated by the journalist herself, but I'm not sure if those two voices, they really bounce off each other really well. Like they are arranged in sections alternately with one another, and sometimes you can kind of see that when one section ends and it goes to the section of the other narrator, the previous section would kind of ends in some kind of cliffhanger or suspense, and the next section would sort of address that a bit in a roundabout way because it focuses on its own story. But other than that, I don't really see any like really closely knit connection, I would say, because I feel like a lot of information is being held back, which kind of makes sense, because this book is a mystery. But I feel like the way that information is being held back is just kind of contrived. Like how characters are just they deliberately don't want to say anything, and you don't really know why they don't want to say anything, because it's not really shown to you how that would work with the characters' personality, or maybe certain characters are just written to be as mysterious, and that's it. And I don't feel like the portrayals of such characters to be very organic. We have characters who are shown to be antagonistic towards the main character, who doesn't want to reveal more, and somehow I think something is kind of lacking in there in terms of why they don't want to reveal more, and yeah, something that I'm just not really getting in terms of why certain information is being like held back from the readers, because to me I feel like if you want to hold back information, there has to be a good in-story reason for that to happen, right? And not just because it is a mystery and we don't want the readers to know yet, because that would feel kind of a little bit clumsy to me. So, and also another thing about this book that I found that didn't really jive well with me is the subplot narrated by Louisa, where she tells about her own experience and her experience with these two people, right? She's written as a teenager who has certain issues at home, which could explain some of the resentment or angst that she has, which we can sort of crudely say as teenage angst, right? I used to feel quite I would say judgmental when it comes to writing that involves such level of teenage angst, but I think over time I'm starting to kind of accept like, yes, certain ways teenagers are written are true. Like, yes, teenagers can be quite dramatic and angsty, yes, but Louisa feels like a flat character. I don't feel that her angst is really well explored in this book. It just casually mentions that, yeah, she has issues back home, but that's pretty much it. And I feel like it would have benefited more if we were to explore Louisa more, really get to know her beyond the fact that she feels uncomfortable in this school because everyone is rich and her family is not, or you know, the kinds of relationships that she would eventually have later on in the story, because something that happens towards the end of the story regarding you know, between her and one of the characters, it just feels like it came out of nowhere. It just felt so sudden. And then when the revelation of what really happened to Louisa appears in the novel, it just doesn't feel very earned, because there isn't much setup towards that. So I feel like this book might have been better if we could explore Louisa more, and perhaps really show who she is and what she really wants, other than just kind of have her narrate her story, but at the same time have her as, you know, the person who went missing, and just sort of relegates her to secondary character. But yeah, I think this is kind of interesting because even though I didn't really like this the novel, I feel like the author has this I feel like I could feel the author's passion in storytelling. So definitely I'm going to try the author's other works as well. I'm not really sure why I feel that way. It's just that it's something that I feel, and it sometimes can feel kind of arbitrary. But yeah, that, you know, that is something I get from the vibes of the book. But anyway, this one didn't really work for me. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. The second book is something that I enjoyed, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And this one is by Tove Ditlevsen, and this is called The Faces. And this book was originally written in Danish. It was translated into English by Tiina Nunnally. And this is a slim book, but I feel like this book is quite punchy. It is quite powerful. So basically, this book is about this this woman named Lisa, and she is a successful children's author. However, her family life isn't exactly very successful. Her husband is unfaithful, and her children are not really close to her. And yeah, so she, at the same time, she is also experiencing some kind of mental health distress. She begins to notice that people's faces are constantly changing, and at the same time she has been hearing things as well. So she is experiencing these kinds of psychosis symptoms, and it's getting worse and worse as the story progresses, up to a point in which she overhears, or so she thinks, that her husband, who is cheating on her, her husband and her housekeeper are plotting to murder her. And so she decides that, okay, they're not going to murder me because I'm going to kill myself. So she takes a bottle of, I'm not sure if she takes like the whole bottle or something, but she takes a lot of sleeping pills. But she survives, and she ends up at a mental hospital. And the story progresses from there. What I really like about this book is that there's something very interesting about the way the story is written, right? This book is about some kind of mental health distress of a character. But I find that the way that the character's experience with mental health and psychosis and her sort of break from reality is written in such a way that feels quite lucid and clear. It's like you can really imagine what is going on with her. You would think that if someone were to write something in which the character experienced this confusion when it comes to reality, that the writing itself would feel kind of fuzzy and smoky as well, right? Like because supposedly that kind of writing could evoke this feeling of confusion, like similar confusion in readers as well. But I feel like in here, it's not like that. Everything feels concrete. Everything that the character experiences, whether without regards whether they are like real or fictional, they are in front of her or they're just in her head, everything feels clear. And I just find it kind of interesting, right? Because even though it feels clear, this book also managed to make me feel confused. And not confused in the sense that I don't understand what's going on, but confused in the sense that you have a character who is like convinced that certain things are happening, but we, the readers, we could see that she is kind of like flip-flopping between different realities, right? Something that happens in her head, something that happens in front of her. But sometimes, sometimes you can sort of differentiate what are real and what are not real for this character. But sometimes there are times when you feel like you can't really tell if something is real or not, especially when it comes to other characters and how they treat the main character. I think it gives like this really almost full picture of what this character is experiencing, how her increasing insecurity with herself and also due to how people around her are acting towards her are kind of contributing to her worsening mental health condition. And I feel like at many points in the story you feel like you are at the same wavelength as the character, and you want to root for her, but at the same time you are also kind of confused for her. If you know what I mean. Like are certain side characters, like the husband for example, are they really as bad as she thinks? Well, maybe yes, maybe no, maybe yes, I don't know. But I definitely hate the husband character, by the way. But okay, I just kind of want to add also that the ending is quite nice also, in the sense that it leaves me feeling something really mixed. I feel like there is some kind of optimism at the ending, but at the same time there is also something quite bleak about the ending. So what am I supposed to feel? Am I supposed to feel good for the character? Am I supposed to feel like, oh, your suffering isn't done yet? I'm not sure. And I think that's really awesome. And yeah, another thing, a lot of things. Another thing is, I can feel a really strong sense of honesty and sincerity in the writing of this novel. And I actually didn't know who Tove Ditlevsen was before I read this book, but I knew that she has this trilogy of nonfiction. I think it was some kind of autobiography, but there are 3 books, the Copenhagen trilogy. And I also looked through her kind of like her life very briefly on Wikipedia, and apparently she had mental health issues as well. And I felt like, I would say this book very likely came from something very real in her life, because there was this, I don't know, there was just this sincerity that I could feel emanating from the book, right? I feel like she's really telling something that she might have experienced. Then again, I don't know much about her life. I'm very interested in reading the trilogy and see how this could probably connect to that. If you have read the trilogy, let me know. Let me know more, because that would be really interesting. Anyway, this book was nice. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. So I am going to talk about the 3rd book. This is The Great Godden by Meg Rosoff, and I think this is YA fiction. So this book is about a family who goes to a summer house to spend the summer, and one member of the family is the protagonist. And the protagonist has siblings, right? So they go to the summer house because around the time they also have relatives there who are getting married, and apparently one of the relatives, she has a godmother who is a famous Hollywood actress who's also going to come to the wedding, and this godmother is going to bring with her her 2 sons, right? So one of the sons is named Kit Godden, and the other is Hugo Godden. But an important character in this book is Kit Godden, because apparently, according to the protagonist, the moment that they see this Kit Godden personality, many people are going to be charmed by Kit Godden. But what does his charm really entails? And apparently, according to this book, his charm and his electrifying presence and persona is something that is going to bring destruction and drama into the lives of people around him. So so basically this book is it pretty much follows the protagonist's own fascination towards this Kit Godden, who is this young who is this slightly older teenager. I think he's about like 19-20 years old. Our teenage protagonist's fascination with this older teenager, and how this older teenager just sort of wreaks havoc to the lives of people around him, but at the same time the protagonist remains they still have this some kind of I would say like this old teenager has a certain hold on our teenage protagonist. And that's interesting. Okay, I mean, yeah, premise is interesting, but I didn't really enjoy the story because I didn't really see how this character, who is supposed to be really charming, so charming to the extent that he destroys people's lives, is charming. Like, I don't see his charm. To me, he just seems like a really milquetoast, annoying person who doesn't really know how to conduct himself, carry himself socially with people. Like she goes he goes seducing one of the characters, one of the protagonist's siblings, right? He seduces her, and then at the same time he's also doing something else that is only going to be revealed later as the penultimate event in this book. Right? And at the same time, he's also kind of like seducing the protagonist as well. So we can see that this Kit Godden character is someone who loves to play with feelings and whatnot, but yet I don't see what is the draw of this character. I don't think it is effectively conveyed in the story that this character is really someone who is charming, who can seduce people effectively, who is this destroyer of lives and feelings, and I just can't see it. And so as I read the book from the beginning to the end, I just thought, oh, maybe it's because the protagonist is just, a teenager. And again, like the first book, again, yeah, maybe teenagers just, they when they are enamored by someone, they probably like, their feelings are probably like exaggerated in them. I mean, that could be one of the reasons why this teenage protagonist is just having all of these strong emotions. But other than that, I don't see it, I don't see the draw of this supposedly electrifying character. And I think it could have been better if the book had explored more on the effects of this character's seduction on other people. Maybe that's just one of the ways, because I didn't really see it, and I also did not see how much of the seduction is happening. Like perhaps it would have been more effective to show how attractive this character is if more people are being affected. But in this book, we didn't see a lot of. I don't see a lot of people being affected by this charming character. Like apparently, yeah, he has some kind of history that is going to be revealed later in this novel, but I don't think it's enough. This book just didn't really work for me. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. So those are all of the books I want to talk about in this video, and currently I don't have any other books that I finished. I am trying to finish one book that my sister gave me, and I don't know if it's going to be something that I like or not, but it's this one right here. If you encountered some of my if you've encountered some of my posts on my other socials, if you might have seen like what could be my feeling towards this book, but yeah, in any case, I'm gonna wait until maybe the next recent reads or whatever to talk more about this book that I'm currently reading. I'm also reading a bunch of other books, but I'm focusing on this one right now that my sister gave to me because I want to finish her books fast. Who knows, if I can finish that, then she could get me more books. Anyway, that was diabolical, isn't it? Anyway, I'll see you guys again. Let me know what you guys are reading right now. Yeah, how are things with you guys? Let me know if you have read any of these books, if you have any comments on them, or if you are interested in reading these books as well, the ones I've mentioned here. But yeah, other than that, I'll see you again in a different video. Happy reading, take care, thanks for watching, and bye. Bye.